October 14th, 2025, may do so by voting yay.
Yeah.
Any opposers? Hearing none, the motion passed unanimously. It's time to turn it over to Mr. Weir for his superintendent.
Start off tonight by recognizing one of our longtime employees who is retiring, Miss Loretta Nichols. Miss Loretta, would you come up?
Take a picture, y'all.
Tokens of our appreciation. For those of you who don't know, Miss Loretta has been in our food services for many years. How many years, Miss Loretta? 23. She has made a lot of children and adults happy over the years. She has done a phenomenal job for the last, I believe, 15. You've been at the Endeavor School?
2008.
2008. So she's been out there a long time. Real quick, I want to call Miss Beverly, Coach Beverly Griffin up, and let her talk to you. Our swim team went through the state competition this year, did a phenomenal job. We have a couple of state champions, and I'd like to get Coach to come up and recognize the swim team and tell you a little bit about their accomplishments this year.
Good evening. Thank you for having us again. Appreciate it. We had 27 swimmers on our team this year, and of that 27, 23 qualified for South State, which means they have to make times in order to get to South State. Once we got to South State, we had some amazing swims. The girls achieved South State runners-up for the third year in a row, and the boys are South State champions for the third year in a row. We had some individual South State champions. Guys, if you would stand up, if you're Wesley Garner won the 200 free. Avery Martin won the 50 free. I think they are like coming in the door as we speak. Wesley won the 100 breaststroke, and Malin Harvey won the 100 breaststroke. I do not see Malin here either. The relays, the boys medley relay, won South State. That's Thomas Molzon. Thomas, stand down. Wesley Garner, Alex Stewart, and Michael Montes, who just walked in the door. The girls' 200 free relay one is Eva Harvey, Madison Collins, Gracie Carter, and Avery Martin. The boys' 200 free relay also won Thomas Molazon, Wesley Garner, Alex Stewart, and Michael Montes. Good job, guys. On to state. At state, the girls whose best placing so far for the last few years have been 6, 7, managed to secure third place at state, which is amazing. That's a hard thing to do. I think there were 18 teams that were at state, and the boys got runner up this year at state. Our boys state team, Michael Montes Alex Stewart, Kate Robin, Thomas Molizon, Braylon Landry, Kylan McCready, Grayson Jones, and Wesley Garner. Okay, yay. Those state teams, Madison Collins, Eva and Malin Harvey, Chloe Jones, Samantha Bryson, Avery Martin, and Gracie Tarver. So, thank you. We have some top 3 in the state, which is amazing. We have in 3rd place with the 53 was Avery Martin. She's got her medals on, and Avery also got 2nd in the 100 free. Thomas Molton, 2nd in the 200 IM, and Wesley, he got 1st in the 200 free with a new state record, and 1st in the 100 breast with another new state record, which both of those were held previously by PRC swimmers. So the PRC knocked the PRC off. Relays, the boys 200 medley relay got 2nd place. Thomas Molizon, Wesley Garner, Michael Montez, and Alex Stewart. And the girls 200 free relay, Eva Harvey, Madison Collins, Gracie Tarter, and Avery Martin. And the boys 2nd, Thomas Molizon, Wesley Garner, Michael Montez, and Alex Stewart. Here, for the first time, they are having an all-star swim meet. And to qualify for that, you had to be in the top 8 at state. And only the top 8 scores points. So these people are also the people that scored points for us. And those were Malin Harvey, Eva Harvey, Chloe Jones, Avery Martin, Madison Collins, Alex Stewart, Thomas Molizon, Michael Montez, and Wesley Garner all made all-stars. And of course, we wouldn't be here without our illustrious assistant coach, Crystal Mock. They at the all-star meet in Tupelo. So after school tomorrow, everybody's going to be driving to Tupelo for them to swim in that all-star meet. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Good luck to y'all.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. We have one swimmer who is going to sign at some point with Meridian Community College to swim, and that's Avery Martin.
I would like to tell you guys, if you've never been to a swim meet, my first swim meet was in Tupelo at the state meet. And if you have not been to a swim meet, let me recommend it. It is fun. This is a rowdy bunch. But we are. Yeah, I was so proud to have my blue and white up there that day. You guys really made us proud. You made me proud. I know your coaches were super proud, but we are just so proud of you guys, you know, to place and do the things that you guys have done at state. It's a huge accomplishment. And we really, as a former coach and athlete, I really appreciate what you guys do. We don't take it for granted. And again, it was so much fun to come up there and watch you guys. I promise you next year, state won't be my only meet. So, y'all keep up the great work. And again, everybody give them another. Picture.
Sure. Absolutely.
Y'all come on up, swim team, and take a picture.
Bev.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I can get it in. They're gonna grab their trophies real quick, set in front, but everything else is perfect.
I don't know how to fit. I don't know how to go.
Okay, y'all ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay.
I'll send them, Crystal, I'll send it to you. You
Good
send
job,
it to
y'all.
everybody.
We also have, representatives from our high school band. I'm gonna ask Mr. Hassel to come up and, introduce, his members of the high school band. They also did an outstanding job this year. I know you guys, if you didn't see them in competition, you probably got to see the halftime show, entitled, Cowboys and Aliens, very entertaining. And I got to go to Pearl and watch them compete in the state competition, which this is the first year in quite a while that PRC band has qualified for state competition. So again, it seems like everybody here at PRC is really doing some great things and making strides and getting better at everything we do. I tell our admin team and our teachers every day, we want to win at everything we do. Academics, athletics, activities, it doesn't matter. We want to win, and we're certainly doing that. So, Mr. Hassel, would you come up and tell us a little bit about y'all's year and introduce some of your kids? Thanks.
Good evening. This year, the Blue Brigade was able to do some pretty cool things. Obviously, as Mr. Weir said, our show was Cowboys versus Aliens. It was our aim was to entertain first. And I feel like we did that pretty well because we heard football fields laughter at the right points in the show. So we're very appreciative of that. We also were able to achieve some pretty cool things. I say we, but it's the students who are the ones on the field actually doing marching and playing, and spinning. So this year we took best in class at 2 of our competitions, one at Gulfport called Battle on the Beach, and at the Harrison Central competition. Also, the afternoon of the Gulfport competition, we competed at MHSAA marching evaluation. And for the first time in 9 years, we received all superiors. And first time in much longer, but state records on that stuff aren't great in achieving all superiors in all captions. And so we're really excited about that. That qualified us for state championships to attend, which we got to do for the first time. And we were just so excited to go there and be there, even though it was very rainy. We have tonight with us members of the leadership team of the band to represent. We have drum major Kaylee Pygott, flute section leader Mia Ramsdell, clarinet section leader Grace Hendricks, saxophone and low reed section leader Lily Mitchell, can't see faces, trumpet section leader Molly Foster, bellophone section leader Luke Bowe, low brass section leader Michaela Babukna, percussion battery drum line captain Logan Binky, front ensemble, the other percussion, the one on the front sideline section leader Willie Pearson, and then we have our color guard leaders Blake Spears, Anaya Beck, and our other low brass section leader Joe Foxworth. Can't forget Joe. Let's give them a round. Yeah, come on up and take a picture.
You mind taking a picture with these?
I'm sorry. Also, I cannot forget our awesome staff of band directors, besides myself, Mr. Chase Romans, Mr. Alex Ellis, and our color guard director, Allison Glasgow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, y'all ready? 1, 2. Got it.
Thank you.
I'll get the microphone on.
One more thing I want to say about the band. You know, a lot of times we hear about the hard work that our football team does and our baseball team and all these teams and how much they work. There's nobody on campus works harder than those guys. If you drive past in the summer, you see them out there marching around, and we worried about them. Mr. England and I would drive by and see them out there in the heat, and we sincerely worried about heat casualties as we saw them out there, because they're out there every day for hours. So kudos to the work that you put in, but it really is paying off. And I knew that when you had your preseason performance, if you got rained out and had to go to the Performing Arts Center, but wow, you know, I realized how much improvement you guys have made. And again, thank you for all the work that you guys put in. At this time, and it's up to you, y'all that have been swim team and band, if y'all would like to dismiss, please don't feel like you have to sit here through our whole meeting. See you next time, Brian. Thank y'all for coming. Welcome to stay.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
I know why y'all are here.
We took the whole room.
Yeah, they're not leaving. They have to speak, each one of them.
I already told them. No true to lowest straw.
Oh, you think it's funny? You might be up here. Yeah, you're gonna be speaking. At this time, I'm gonna call Miss Bailey Babbitt to give our student representative report.
Okay, I'm going to start with Endeavor. Endeavor is proud to report the continued success of several key partnerships and programs that enrich our students' learning experiences and character development. Our partnership with the Margaret Reed Crosby Library is thriving, with a notable increase in student circulation. This collaboration continues to foster a deep love of reading among our students. Additionally, our partnership with Likewise Academy's Character Education Program remains an invaluable resource. Students regularly return to campus eager to share the lessons they learned, demonstrating real-world application of positive character principles. In line with our school motto, progress over perfection, we've implemented several new initiatives to recognize student growth and positive behavior. Level 3 celebrations, impromptu recognition events that reward students for good behavior, attendance, and academic improvement, helping to reinforce a positive and supportive school culture. Student of the Week, a special highlight, recognizing students who consistently demonstrate core values, positive behavior, and steady academic progress. At PRCES, we continue our intensive focus on improving all aspects of literacy and fostering daily growth for every individual on campus. Another dedicated group of our teachers successfully completed the Phonics First training. 2 administrators are currently undertaking aimed literacy training to ensure leadership alignment with best practices. Our instructional efforts are centered on enhancing rigor and utilizing appropriate depth of knowledge levels for our students. We are setting consistently high expectations for all, actively refusing to let the words "they can't" or "I can't" be part of our campus dialogue, reinforcing a strong growth mindset. We hosted several highly successful school-wide events focused on positive culture and community engagement. We held another successful leader parade showcasing student leadership and pride. Our first 2 Picnic with a Friend events were a wonderful success, strengthening relationships between staff and students. We celebrated Red Roof Week with activities promoting healthy and drug-free choices. Our students enjoyed an amazing and engaging Pumpkin Palooza event on Halloween. Our administrative and lead teacher teams are deeply engaged in strategic activities to support teacher effectiveness and student learning. Administrators are deep into teacher evaluations and holding strategy meetings to plan effectively for the fall semester and the remainder of the year. Our lead teachers are actively working with the administration by conducting learning, look tours, coaching, and building overall teacher capacity and growth across the campus. Prodigy Math State Champions. We are proud to announce that PRCES was named the state champions for October for Prodigy Math. We are successfully using this system to keep our students focused on math instructional growth and engagement, with many choosing to continue using this educational tool outside of instructional time. To honor our veterans, our students and teachers participated in several meaningful activities. Creation of a hero wall to recognize service members of our school community and district and families of our students and staff. Participation in poem reading and reflection, wrote thank you messages and letters to local veterans, and created a thank you video from the mouths of babes who see our veterans as their heroes. At Pearl River Central Middle School, we've had an exciting and eventful start to the year filled with celebration, growth, and community support. We kicked off our fall bash rewarding students for excellence in academics, attendance, and behavior. We extended a special thank you to our incredible volunteers from LifeWise, PTO, the National Guard, and the Chamber of Commerce leadership team, and especially to Mr. and Ms. Soche for their tremendous support. Our pancake breakfast recognized over 300 students for consistently showing positive behavior and school spirit as part of our True Blue PBIS program. We also celebrated perfect attendance with Path to the House, a fun event that rewarded students for their dedication to being present every day. The first academic rally honored students who scored proficient or advanced on last year's state test and those who made the honor roll for the first 9 weeks, a proud celebration of student achievement. Seasonal events brought even more joy to campus, including cooking fried rice for our Halloween hallway decoration contest winners and hosting the annual staff trick-or-treat event, always a favorite for both students and staff. We also celebrated Red Ribbon Week thanks to the leadership of our school nurses and social workers who helped promote healthy, drug-free choices throughout the week. Overall, it's been a rewarding start to the year at PRC Middle School, and we are proud of all the positive momentum on our campus. PRC High School has also had an exciting month filled with achievements, community involvement, and student success across academics, athletics, and arts. Our early childhood education and education prep students participated in bowling buddies, mentoring young students, and later assisting at the Pumpkin Palooza event at the elementary school. In athletics, our swim team and both boys and girls golf teams represented PRC at the state championships, while our band competed at the MHSAA state competition. Meanwhile, the show choir hosted a lively fall fest for students and families. We celebrated academic achievement with an honor roll pancake breakfast for Term 1 A and B honor roll students, while our counseling department organized a financial aid application day and welcomed college representatives from the University of Louisiana and William Carey University to guide students in future planning. Spanish students enjoyed a cultural immersion experience practicing their language skills by ordering meals in Spanish at a local restaurant. Our seniors also marked an exciting milestone by taking their senior portions this week. The Little Devils Preschool lighted the campus as they went trick-or-treating through the high school and middle school, spreading smiles to everyone. As cooler weather arrives, soccer and basketball seasons began, and the energy on campus continues to grow. We recently hosted a community pep rally, capped off by a big football victory over Pickey, securing a spot in the playoffs. To conclude the month, our ROTC program honored local heroes with the Veterans Day breakfast, expressing deep gratitude for their service and sacrifice. PRC High School continues to thrive academically, athletically, and within the community, and we're incredibly proud of our students' accomplishments. In closing, across our district, we are inspired by the dedication of our students, teachers, and staff, and by the continued support of our families and community partners. Thank you so much for your time.
Next thing on, the superintendent's report is, the monthly financial report. We gave each one of you guys we had asked Ms. Ladner to give us a breakdown. You still have all your normal, financial documents in your, packet, but this is a very simplified layman's breakdown of the district finances. Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Ladner?
I'm gonna go back and add bond issue information on here.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that. If there's anything that any questions like the bond, anything like that you would like for her to add, let us know. And we'll add anything that you would.
This is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
So on that information for the bond, you put the maturity date on there, make sure.
yes.
Can you quickly touch on the total turf collections and talk about, is it less than what we anticipated right now from promises that donors or sponsors that?
This is technically the first year that we're supposed to collect. These people just kind of jumped out and just went ahead and paid what they knew was going to be due. Some I'm probably trying to get it in before the end of this tax year. Sherry and I did talk about go ahead and invoice of those that have not paid. This first year in case they do want to get it in before December.
This could be a skewed number too, because I know some paid more than like the first year commitment.
Right.
I did not.
Right.
But some did.
This doesn't tell you that information. It's just what we've collected total so far. And actually as of today, because I went in and looked at it before I came over. So obviously we have a long way to go to collect everything that was committed to us. And hoping that everybody lives up to it. But as we collect that number, I'll amend the number.
And can you talk a little bit about what the 162 additional turf expenses encompasses?
Yes, down below, that is just some things because we have had a lot of stuff that wasn't budgeted and it gets to be a lot after a while, which is kind of not the norm, obviously. But that is the turf expenses not budgeted. That includes that 81,000 for the sponsorship on the field. That does include that. I am hoping, I had budgeted an increase in insurance. I
had budgeted an increase in insurance, anticipating it, and y'all know it actually came in less, but then we were able to add more coverage, which we certainly needed to do. So it ended up being flat. So I'm hoping, and I don't want to give you a definite amount yet, just in case something comes up that I don't know about. I'm hoping that I can pick up some savings there that will cover the majority of that. Fingers crossed. The additional staff that we had to come in, the 4 teaching units, and now tonight, if you approve it, the 4 assistants, we did budget for 3 buses that we're not going to purchase. We did have 2 vehicles budgeted. We did buy 1 for security, but we hadn't bought the other one, which was going to be another Explorer. If we don't purchase those, I'm hoping that's going to be a wash. Can't tell you for certain because the teachers coming in
I don't, the years, like their years of experience. If we hired a 30-year teacher, obviously that's going to cost us more than a first-year teacher. And I'm not sure where those people, I just see their names come across for right now. I want to get a couple more payrolls in before I come back and tell you. And it'll be after the first of the year. I'll do an amended budget and we'll know more about how much of the fund balance we're going to actually go into. We do know that by purchasing that land, that wasn't budgeted for, but again, I said it before, I'll say it again. I think that was smart and it was a good purchase. And that, to me, that's a good reason to go into your fund. I did, on a positive note, interest earned. When I budget interest earned, I'm very, very conservative. And obviously, y'all know what's been going on. We're earning more interest than what I had budgeted. So that's a positive because you're going in the right direction there to cover some of these additional expenses. We did finally get for Title I our preliminary numbers. So Ms. Bird has worked very diligently to get that plan off and hopefully get it approved to where we can start throwing some of that money down. Still waiting on SPED. I was starting to sweat about food services because we were told last week with the government shutdown, we only had 2 months, or they only had 2 months to be able to reimburse us. But hopefully that's not an issue now. So we're good and our kids are going to eat. So it's great, right? So anyway, at Title II and Title IV last week, nobody knows. Like, we don't know if we're going to get that. We didn't get a whole lot of Title II and Title IV here. So I don't know what to tell you. We're still hopeful that the government will come through with those allocations. We just don't know.
So in terms of additional staff, do we have an unexpected increase in enrollment or were we short
No.
years past? And if it was short years, I'm sorry, if it was short years past.
So we were down 100 students. And so we had cut units at the elementary. But what happened was we didn't know parents were not pre-enrolling the little ones, the ones coming into kindergarten. And so that's where we had to end up adding 2 of those units, and 2 of those assistants was in kindergarten. We had originally cut them from the budget. We had to add them back. I've already addressed Mr. Ware, Ms. Bird. We're going to sit down. We're going to look at our enrollment very closely over the next month or 2 moving forward with this new budget, because it's real easy. If you're 100 down in elementary, it's real simple. You just cut a unit in 2nd grade or 4th grade, wherever your numbers are down. The problem is when you're down 20 or 30 at elementary, 20 or 30 at the middle school and 20 or 30 at the high school, that gets a little harder. Middle school and high school, it really gets hard when you're down numbers, but not a whole lot, because you can't just cut an English teacher or a math teacher. You gotta really look at your numbers and see. It just takes a little bit more work to do that. So down 100 students, it is a lot with your funding, because that is about $550,000. So you've got to make cuts somewhere, but it's just not your cut. It's just not easy to cut. So that's 2 of the units. We went in and added a SPED unit to the middle school. I really can't say anything about SPED because I just don't know. I just know that we had to add a SPED unit, which means you have to add an assistant when you do that. And then the last assistant is on this agenda is for a child that moved in that we really
Needed one-on-one attention.
Yes.
I've got a question again about the technology fund. I understand that fund is there to replace the Chromebooks whenever, I guess, they age out. And so do we normally put a certain amount of money in that every year?
I was told coming in that 100,000 is what is to be transferred every year. So this past year, when I closed out the books, I transferred 100,000 into that fund. There was already the 60-something thousand, because there's a little bit of interest that gets added to that every month. But there was already some money in there, I guess, to establish the fund. So I transferred 100,000. Now I don't anticipate having 100,000 to be able to do that this year. But I mean, you've gotten off to a good start. I don't think it's not the end of the world if we don't do it for 1 year, but we definitely need to come back next year. And you don't have to do 100,000. You can do, 50 or 70. You can do whatever you want. And it's just a good idea to do that because, I mean, you purchased them all at the same time. So obviously they're going to start all going out and need to be replaced all at the same time. Kind of like everybody buying buses out for Katrina. You had to go in, you had to buy a whole new fleet, and then they start aging out at the same time and you get in trouble. So we need to go back to putting money in technology fund. We need to go back to making sure next year that we buy, 2 or 3 buses and a couple of vehicles. So you don't get yourself in trouble.
Was there a different formula used last year as far as the elementary school is concerned? A different formula used last year as compared to this year? As far as enrollment is concerned, is that the result of the, I'm just confused on, not confused, just really some clarity on, and you for the most part explained it. I appreciate that on the staff, the shortage, having to add the additional staff that wasn't budgeted. Mr. Dice reminded me something about the same thing that there was.
I completely understand where you're coming from, and it's got to be looked at very closely because if we're still down 100 from a year ago, we got to figure something out.
Yeah.
Or we should be, but again, it's not as easy as just cutting a unit, at the high school and middle school. If your numbers, if it's all 100 students down at elementary, it's easy, but I don't think so.
How many students do we lose out of district, like Heritage or to other school districts out of district? Heritage, because I know their school is growing.
We don't know. We don't know Heritage now as far as, because we don't have to sign off on those as a private school. The ones that we release, I don't have a number for you. It's not that many because I hadn't signed off. I mean, it's minimal. And most of the ones that we have released are employees who have gone there, different things like that. I mean, it's minimal. And Mr. Associate, I want to reiterate what Ms. Ladner said. One, at the end of last year, there were some cuts made. I believe there was 4 teachers cut from the elementary. I believe. I don't quote me on that. I can give you that exact figure tomorrow, but I believe there was 4 teaching units cut, and we added back 2 there due to initial enrollment in kindergarten. And then I believe the others are sped. And when we did end up adding a 1 additional unit at the elementary, in addition to those 2 that we added back. But the sped really throws your numbers off because it just depends on. It's so hard to explain because it depends. You may have a sped class that has 10 kids in it. And you have to have, and so that throws your average. You can't average, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And it is, like she said, and our elementary is so big with 1,400 plus kids that if just it was 1 out of every class, that's not going to lower your number of teaching units. But that is money you're losing, if that makes sense. Where we can only have, and I'm just pulling this number out of the air, we can only have 25 in a class. Well, if 100 leave or whatever, and there's only 24, we still have to have a teacher for that class, or if there be 2 leave out of that class, we still have to fund that entire class. And those numbers. It's a puzzle. And it's tough. And that's one of the things you hear a lot about the school choice stuff. That's why people are, that's the thing that's scary about school choice. is that they could move and we still have to, if we lose another 100 kids next year, let's just say that happens. Then you're losing another 500,000, but you're still funding pretty much the same thing. You know, and I'm not gonna go into that because I'm a advocate and I'm a believer that we're gonna do the best we can do with what we got, no matter what. We're gonna be the best school in the county, the best district in the county, and we'll attract more than we lose. Moving on, unless you have any other questions.
Good.
Bring it on. All right. Want to bring up, Mr. Smith for our school improvement.
Good evening, board members. While we wait on the next round of common assessments, our faculty has not paused its dedication to moving our school forward from the ATSI designation. Immediately following common assessment, our teachers met intensively with their departments. This was not a general review, but an intensive, deep analysis of the data to specifically identify the critical skill gaps where students are struggling the most. This data is now being actively used to hone in, mediate those precise areas, ensuring that every minute of instructional time is being dedicated to targeted improvement based on student needs. And so I don't know if last time that I shared this with you all or not, but this is the document that we use to kind of update people on where we're at. So every quarter, it's updated with the common assessment data. And so that first block, which you see over there, are the goals that we set. And so looking at those goals and what our data was, the first common assessment can be a little misleading. As I told you guys last time, that we have shown growth in many of these areas based on what we were this time last year. Any questions?
Simplify. You're doing, the middle school's doing that.
The middle school is doing better.
So yes.
I don't want to say it too little, I'll start asking more questions.
Yeah. All right, y'all spent all afternoon with Mr. Engel. I'm sure you don't want to talk to him anymore. Ms. Bird doesn't have anything. Mr. Engel, you don't have anything, do you?
Just the 2 trailers and 2 tanks.
Yes.
Thanksgiving break, which y'all approved, be removed, will be removed.
Do you have any other questions for him?
What about the trailer up front? I know that was also part of the demolition.
Yes, that one and the one by some, district office. One up front here.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So all they're gonna be done over Thanksgiving break?
Yes, sir.
Anything else? All right, that concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Rick.
Thank you.
Did I get a motion to consider approving the following financial items? Board so chooses, we'll take it items A through O.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Dice. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Harry. Any discussion on items A through O? Discussion. Opportunity for the guys to speak.
Just
I think
unless,
this is-
Coach Turner's wanted to, we
Give the floor to Coach Turners
Elaborate.
for a minute.
So some of my guys are here today, and it just kind of shows the type of support that they have and the willingness and excitement of being a student at PRC. Every time I get interviewed, I ask one question. I never worry about myself when I'm in an interview. I want to know what kind of support that we have for the boys, in the school. How's the school function, and what is the support for them guys? And I was told in the interview process by Ms. Penton and Coach Feaster that they have a lot of support, you know, and so I said, well, we'll see, right? And I mean, that's my mindset. And I've seen, and I've just been over the moon excited about the support here. Obviously, they're here for trying to get us a new school board out there with the support of COPE. And right now, we currently have 8 sponsors, eight school board sponsors, and we have a little fundraiser. The baseball program will be able to pay for the school board outright from the booster club. Not really here asking any money, just want to have the approval because it's going to sit on, you know, obviously PRC land. And we're also using some of the funding for that. So again, we just appreciate you guys' consideration on that. And we just want to wholeheartedly on camera in front of just thank the community for every single thing that they've done for these guys. So,
Boys. I'm just kidding.
Thank you, Coach Turnage. Any other discussion on items A through O? We'll go to a vote. All in favor of approving financial items A through O, may do so by voting yay.
Yay.
Any opposers? Hearing none, the motion passed unanimously. Get a motion to consider approving the consent agenda. We'll take that items A through E with the exception of item D.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Frazier. Have a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Herring. Go to a vote. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, being items A through E with the exception of item D, may do so by voting yay.
Yay.
Any opposers? Hearing none, the motion passed unanimously. Can I get a motion to consider approving amendment to the Pearl Central, elementary school and Pearl Central High School 2025 and 2026 student handbook? Thank you, Mr. Associate. We have a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Dice. Discussion?
Okay. I pulled it because I wanted to.
I'm like, yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you needed.
No. I'm sorry.
Just to get some clarification, because I know later on in the agenda, we are item under number 10, consider discussion of field trip protocol and campus restrictions. But it seems as if this amendment, correct me if I'm wrong, because I very well may be, this amendment to this policy would nullify any discussion we're going to have at hand. Because
No, I believe it's totally separate.
Because it has to be added that in place of the yellow highlighted sections.
That's just for students with discipline issues.
Discipline issues. That's all I needed.
Yes, sir. That doesn't have anything to do with the thing from before, the discussion.
Further discussion? All right, go to vote. All in favor of approving amendment to the Pearl Central Elementary School and Pearl Central High School 2025 to 2026 student handbook, may do so by voting yay.
Yay.
Any opposers? Hearing none, motion passed unanimously. Get a motion to consider approving sections K, L, and M of the policy. Second.
So moved.
Thanks, Mr. Dye. Second. Thanks, Mr. Soche. Discussion? Mr. Frazier, anything?
Well, it just so happens that these 3 sections of policies directly relate to another issue that's already on the agenda tonight. So really it has to do with community engagement and rental engagement, those kind of things. So, but there was no significant changes that I saw that need to be made, but it does directly relate to something we're going to discuss a little bit later on tonight.
Any other discussion? Go to a vote. All in favor of approving policy sections K, L, and M may do so by voting yay.
Yay.
Any opposers? Hearing none, motion passed unanimously. Get a motion to consider approving changes to policy DFK.
Motion.
Thanks, Mr. Herring, with a second. Thanks, Mr. Dice. Discussion, please.
No, this particular policy, DFK, talk about gifts and requests to the school. It was really more about making sure we had a policy that we could actually follow. And so what this policy, how it was written, we were constantly violating the requirements in it. Because the policy basically said anytime there was gifts of monetary value of $500 for real property, the board had to approve it before we take possession of it. And then if we look at the donation we normally get, there were many times that we were actually accepting things or we didn't have a way to, how we was managing that before the board actually approved it. So we just wanted to make sure the policy didn't restrict our donors from giving donations to the school. And so again, it just kind of give a little more latitude to the superintendent to make sure that he can accept those things without having to wait to a board approval.
Thanks for that explanation.
Yeah, we would have actually violate it tonight. There's some donations on there that violates the policy as is.
So that was really nothing major change. Just kind of giving us the superintendent more latitude to accept these gifts. You know, we kind of did some exploration in it. Really didn't understand the rationale behind some of it. You know, I think he got in contact with MSBA and they really didn't give you any real feedback on that. Why?
They said it's strictly board, your preference, board preference.
Any other discussion? All right, go to a vote. All in favor of approving changes to policy DFK, may do so by voting yea. Yea. Opposers? Hearing none, motion passed unanimously. Can I get a motion to consider approving changes to policy BBA?
Motion.
Thanks, Mr. Soche. Second.
Second.
Thanks, Mr. Frazier. Any discussion on the changes to policy BBA?
Again, this policy was just kind of, as we reviewed it was something that we were doing that didn't necessarily fall in line with the policy. So we wanted to make sure that the policy aligns with our current action. So what it read is saying, in case the president is absent, the remaining members of the board may select a president pro tem from among them, so long as the quorum was present. You know, our normal practice is not to do that. Our normal practice is that if the vice president is there, he would automatically assume the role, or if he's absent, the secretary would automatically assume the role. So we just changed the policy, or recommend change the policy to align with our current behavior.
Let me ask you, because this happened, right? This is a lot of things where, you know, I'm serving in the role as the president, actually attended the meeting, but attended it virtually, right? And I said, it's just not running a productive meeting to try to do it virtually, so kind of pass the gavel. Is that still, you know, the ability to be able to?
Yeah, and as the president, you can pass the gavel at any time.
Right. That's just another consideration. It might happen from time to time based on the new role that we live here. The hybrid meetings that we have. Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, we'll go to a vote. All in favor of approving changes to policy BBA, may do so by voting yea. Yea. Any opposers? Motion passed unanimously. And get a motion to consider discussion of field trips and the protocol and campus restrictions.
Motion.
Thanks, Mr. Herring. Second. Thank you, Mr. Soke.
Mr. Dice.
Mr. Dice. Kind of hard hearing. Any discussion on?
There was some, Dr. Nikes had put some restrictions on field trips. A little bit of pushback from the community. I think some of you guys received calls, different things. And again, the thought behind the whole thing is safety, to do everything we can to keep our kids safe. And when we're off campus, that we're more vulnerable when we're off campus. And there was some pushback. I thought I was doing the right thing. I made a post on our district social media. Had some pushback from that. But again, and we want to keep that as loose as possible. There was some discussion, should that be policy? Should it not be policy? There's really the only school board policy that's in place to deal with field trips is out-of-state field trips is pretty, it gives pretty set guidelines. In-state day field trips, it is pretty much, even in the, student handbooks and the teacher handbook, it's pretty vague. Simply because every field trip is different, every school is different, every age group is different. Even, so I say even every, if you're going on a first grade field trip at the elementary or a fifth grade, that's a total different animal. So that's why it's not policy, because it's that if you have a policy, it's too hard to operate because it's such a wide variety of issues you deal with. I think once some of the people that were upset about it, I talked to them. Dr. Nikes talked to them, because this really didn't affect the other campuses. Parents really are not interested in going on field trips with middle school or high school kids, and the kids are certainly not interested. So after we met with some of these people, they understood. They for the most part still didn't like it, but accepted it because they understand that it's about safety. And we're going to restrict the campuses some, but what we don't want to do, and it goes along with our community involvement and parent involvement. We know the value of parent involvement in our schools. We want that. We just want to make sure they're vetted, because we've already had at least one incident where it was a family situation and somebody got onto campus legally. Everything was legal other than when they were on campus. It was nobody's fault other than this person had contact with a student they weren't supposed to. Because they had a stepchild there by a different name. They come to the event to see the stepchild and interact with their child who they have a restraining order.
So is that restraining order, does that make them like a red flag, or?
That is a red flag, yes.
And so, and this is just me asking, right? So in those situations, you couldn't say to that red flag or to every red flag, you're not allowed on campus to see anybody? Instead of, if you have that situation, right, he can't come on to see his regular child, his stepchild, his any child. But if you're a red flag, you're just not welcome.
We can do that.
You know, really have to depend on what the court order says. If the court order says you can't see certain children, then that didn't give you the right to restrict them from the other kids. You have to be careful with that court order.
We do have the leeway
discretion, right?
We have that discretion to do that. And I could, with good conscience, do that. But we don't always have that.
Right.
And then that wouldn't be our fault.
Right.
However, it's still putting a child in danger.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're not going to be able to stop everything.
Right. Don't earn a red flag and you don't have that situation.
And let me tell you the other thing. I don't want anybody to think we're going to not allow anybody on campus. A lot of the discussion was, well, like when you have open house, it's wide open. Yes, it's wide open, but we are not responsible for children at that point. They go home and they come back. During the school day, they're ours. Once that child comes on a bus or gets dropped off and goes to class, they're our responsibility. They come to open house and every Yahoo in the world is on campus. They're not our responsibility because they're coming with mom and dad or whoever they come with. That's the difference because that came up several. Y'all let everybody come on campus. We're not going, and somebody said, well, we heard you're not going to let people on campus for awards. No, we're just going to do it strategically throughout the day and try to limit the number of people, because with 1,400 students on one campus, if half those kids have one parent show up for a campus-wide event, that's 700 people that we don't know on our campus, or 700 people that extra people. So you can see where that would become overwhelming very fast. Please don't anybody think that we want to not be inviting to parents, because we do. We're looking at doing possibly some background checks. I don't know that that's really realistic. And again, we can't stop everything, but we're going to do what we can and still make our campus welcoming. And if anybody has any suggestions, like you said, if they have any kind of red flag, that can be the principal's discretion to do that. I don't have any issue with that.
What was the final determination on field trips? I believe there's, for example, a elementary school zoo field trip tomorrow. Is that right? Is that correct?
Is it tomorrow?
Well,
yeah, it's no parents.
No parents.
As I was saying earlier, we do have some policies that deal with parental visit to schools, and this will have that was the section of the policies that we will be doing this month. And I just want to make sure that when we make any kind of decision, we refer to those. And I'm just going to name out 5 that kind of stood out to me as I was looking at this stuff. The first one was KGA, the school volunteer policies, KM visit to schools, LA parental engagement, LAD was the regulation of Title I parental engagements, and the KCB community involvement. And each one of those policies got different things in it, but all of them talk about the parents' right to access to school and school functions. We want to make sure that when we make any kind of procedures, we don't violate the policy we already have in place, because each one of them talks about parents having access and parents participating in the schools. I guess need to encourage the involvement of parents because of how important it is. So that's something we want to make sure we review those before we make those hard and silly procedures.
What happens if what happens if the zoo? I'm just going to use this as an example since it's tomorrow. The zoo's open tomorrow. I'm assuming to the public, right? What happens? Not if when parents are going to show up to the zoo.
We're not going to make a big deal out of it.
So parents can go on field trips.
Well, to my opinion, that's the very parent that is the problem. If we have told you not to show up or asked you not to show up, we can't tell you not to show up at a public place. But if you send your student on a field trip with us and we have asked you not to show up and you do, you're the problem. Follow the rules or keep your student at home. I know that sounds harsh, but you're the problem. What are you teaching your child? I don't have to follow the rules. And that's where I stand on that. We're not going to fight that battle at the zoo. We're not going to fight that battle in public. I'm just not. If they show up, what am I going to do? I'm not going to embarrass that child. Not going to have a confrontation with a parent. And that's the decision we've made.
So this is a temporary decision for the current situation, right? Like that is revisited.
Every field trip's different.
Right.
That's really all I can say.
Yeah.
Every age group, every field trip's different.
Yeah.
So you'll make that decision for every field.
Well, we get messages if your kid is in a class, you get that message, and I guess it'll be communicated in that message, right? You have to sign a permission slip. So it'll all be per field trip in that information the parent gets, right? That's
Yes,
what the plan is.
yes. Again, I don't know that this is something I would have done, but the principal asked to do this.
Well, for instance, trying to think of what grades my kids are. My third grader went to PRCSD to watch a play and eat lunch and come back. Nobody was knocking the door down to go to that field trip, right? But the zoo field trip, you know, parents want to go to the zoo, and I completely understand the stance and all that stuff. I also understand that the zoo is open and take your child to the zoo anytime you want to. And some hard cases could be possibly, I'm sorry you can't go on the field trip, I'll take you Saturday. If you have a concern, I understand why we're doing this. It's hard, but that's was my question. Is it across the board, or is it I guess just to say a fluid situation?
And I'm going to say it is a very fluid situation. Because again, if you start setting a policy on this and we're gonna do it this way every single time, you box yourself in too much.
Yeah.
I can tell you this, my daughter teaches at Poplarville. They don't do field trips for this reason. And I don't want to do that to our kids.
Well, and you have
But if we have these parents that say, I don't care what you say, I'm gonna do what I want to do.
and you also have to think about the child whose parent cannot come to the field trip and gets left at the field trip and has to ride the bus without his buddy on the way back. Things so there's a lot of angles.
There's a lot. And again, there is no perfect answer, and I hate it. I hate it. We just don't live in the world that we did 5, 10, 15 years ago. I hate it. I hate it. I wish we could open it up and everybody comes. Again, I leave that to the principal's discretion. I support them, and that's where I stand. And if you guys want to make a policy, you make a policy, we're gonna follow it. Period. We're gonna follow it the very best we can.
I understand. I appreciate you supporting your principal because that builds that trust in your
And again,
chain of command.
may not be what I would have done, but I support. And it's not easy.
Okay, so we're calling this day-to-day operation.
Yes. I mean, no, I'm not calling it that. Heck, no. I'm not saying that.
I had to do that when Mr. Dice came back.
Rodney's favorite word.
I hate that.
You'll never hear those words come out of my mouth again. That's just how we do it. I don't know.
Just real quick. How many red flag parents do you think we have here? In elementary, I mean, middle school, obviously, middle school, high school. How many red flag parents do you think?
I can't give you a number. Percentage wise,
I may be one after basketball season.
Just hitting did it already.
I give you a number if you want it, not tonight, so I can give one for you.
Okay. And I'm just wondering, and the only reason I'm asking that question is literally to say, so let's say our number is 20. And out of all the students that we have in that elementary school, we doing this for 20 people who couldn't do the right thing.
But I'm gonna say this, it's not just for red flag parents. You know, we go on these field trips, again, if we've got overwhelming numbers, we just have a lot of kids, even per grade level. Sometimes the numbers, if half the kids bring a parent,
Yeah.
then that number becomes, it's as much that.
Must have
Logistics type stuff. And I don't have red flag numbers, but I will tell you this, and I think I may have sent it to you guys. Within a 1 mile radius of our elementary campus, there are 3 registered sex offenders. Okay, within 1 mile of this campus right here, there's a sex offender who I believe is in jail. It's not even on the list, that just was arrested a month ago. It lives on Whitechapel Road.
Well,
Okay.
on the field trip,
I know.
Yeah.
I would imagine that, as a teacher, or administration, whoever's going, it's hard to keep order when the parents are there.
It's very hard because they have different rules than we have. And kids act different around their parents. Again, it's just, I don't want to come across as not wanting parents involved. That's the thing that scares me about this whole thing. I don't want to come across, and like Mr. Frazier said, they have a right to a certain extent. We don't let them come and go in our classrooms whenever they want. There's limitations. And
It's a tough one.
it is, it's very tough. And again, I hope that we can figure out a way to not limit it at all. That's where I hope to go with this.
But when you need to exercise that discretion, you need to have that
Yeah.
authority to do that.
Yes.
Understand? Not an absolute thing.
Right. And,
One way or
all right,
another.
for example, we only may have 20 red flags in the whole school. What if 5 of those is in one class or one grade level? You just have to,
I just want to be able to go on a field trip with my grandchild one day.
You don't have any
Don't
grant.
get a
You're a
real.
red flag already.
That's Mark. That's a red flag.
Potential.
He's working on it. He's like, oh,
Yeah.
No, not yet. I hadn't got a text message.
Thank you for that information, Mr. Fraser. That's a very important piece of the consideration here. Make sure we don't follow
Yeah, I guess the one thing you talk about that red flags, there's a specific policy on custodial and non-custodial parents that talks about that particular parent being excluded from seeing one child.
I know you.
As opposed to seeing the stepkids.
I know. And if you don't,
Any further discussion on the field trip protocol? Nope. All right, let's move on. Can I get a motion to consider adding a bereavement policy?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Dice.
Second.
Thanks, Mr. Herring. Any discussion on that?
I want to hand y'all, this is something I would like to look at, if not now, possibly in the very near future. I didn't realize we did not have this. I'm gonna get one. I know I talked with Ms. Diamond about it, but we don't have a bereavement policy. This one, some school districts do have them. This one comes from Jackson Public Schools. They're very generous, I think, and that they offer 5 days. But it's for an immediate family member. This is one of those things that I think you go a long way with employees, because Poplarville doesn't offer it. Picayune doesn't offer it. Talking to Miss Ladner, most people on the coast don't offer it. But what we're trying to do is come up with things, anything we can to help our employees, to help draw employees. And like Ms. Ladner was saying, rumor has it that Pastor Christian's gonna have a starting teacher salary at 50,000 next year. We've got to be creative with things like this to try to attract people. This is something, and we'd have to do a study to see what it would cost. Not asking for any action tonight, just something on your radar to start thinking about. And it's just the right thing to do, I believe. And like I said, that's really all I want to do is put it on your radar tonight.
I'm actually surprised that more school districts don't have.
I was very surprised. And that's one thing I want to do when I come back to you guys is, have a better understanding of who does. And look at some more districts' policies. This is Jackson Public, but look at some more other districts that have it, even out of state districts that may have it. And also want to look at our employees specifically, how many have had this situation with a spouse or an immediate family member passing, what it would have cost us in maybe the last 3 years in substitute pay. And let's just look at the,
I bet it's not much.
that's what I think, Mark. I can't say that, but
Policy's probably worth more than expense.
I think so too. I think so too. You know, to be able to say, hey, go take care of your business. Don't worry about school. Don't worry about having to take leave. You're good. That right there is.
Now, how much is that teacher teaching during those days?
Right.
You know, you're
How
not
much
getting anything out of them.
Well, most of them are having, I mean, if you were to lose your spouse, you're probably gonna take 5 days anyway.
At least.
Yes. Or your
Maybe
mother.
3.
My spouse, I don't know.
You can't take it.
If it's a weekend, maybe not.
You should know.
Mr. Mayor, I know this is just something you gave us to look at and consider, but I have a question about this kind of, I read the first couple of lines, just trying to think about what's the implications. So it says, a employee shall be to allow employee a maximum of 5 days due to each death in the immediate family. And this is just a hypothetical situation, catastrophic. So if you had a employee that had a family members that on a vacation and multiple of those members got killed in a car wreck, would it be 5 days for each one of those members in that car wreck? You know, so you'd be 20, 30 days or something like that, potentially. So
That would
that's
be-
something we have.
Yes, that would be something you guys decide, but I would also think if I lost my wife and 3 children, I'd
I'd
want
probably-
30 days, whatever.
They could take, they qualify for FMLA.
So, but that's a good question, and that's something you guys would have to decide. And I mean, all of this is something you gotta decide, the number of days, you know, what it covers, all that, so.
Gotta verify the death.
Death certificate.
Yeah.
Eventually. All right. I guess we'll, go to a vote to approve adding the policy, but no vote? No
It's
vote,
just discussion, I think.
just discussion.
I think that tells us that's right. One to bring us.
So no action on the part of the board.
Just have it in the back of my mind. Just have it in the back of my mind.
Yes. Yeah, and I'll bring you better information next month. And if, you know, I will talk to you guys during the month, and if you want to consider, developing a policy, consider a policy. You know, we could even I can even get in touch with MSBA and see what they say.
MSBA just added a bereavement policy last month.
I should have known. Look, if there's anything you guys got in policy, don't call MSBA.
Call him.
Call MRJ.
All right. That's it.
Yeah.
Anything else? All right. Guess we, moving right along to the next item on the agenda. Have a motion to adjourn.
There you go.
Motion. Thanks, Mr. O'Shea. Second. Thank you. Harry. All in favor of adjourning, reduce by voting yea.
Yea.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passed again. Now adjourned.